Hello, hello. Thanks for tuning in. Please like and subscribe and all that jazz. Today we're covering a couple of Australian topics in celebration of Australia Day. So I know it's more about the settling of Australia, but I'm going to dig back into a little more modern history and show a couple solutions to how they helped rebuild their country after World War I. But first, let's dig into some World War II archival footage, specifically of Australian airmen getting into the war.
From the day the war was declared, the number of young men eager to join the Royal Australian Air Force was far greater than could be accommodated. Most joined wanting to be pilots, and those who accepted other jobs did so in the hope of one day earning their wings. They expected a life of adventure, a chance to show initiative and courage in a war filled with glamour and excitement. For some, it was like this, and glory was won almost as fast as lives were lost. But for most, the looked-for thrills were missing, and instead there were long, cold hours spent flying around in dull routine. In the early days, it was a European war, fought halfway across the world from home, and the first job for many of them was to escort troop convoys across the Bay of Biscay. A constant watch had to be kept for U-boats and enemy aircraft, and the guns manned at all times in case of attack. For 8 hours at a stretch, and sometimes longer, they patrolled, cold, cramped, tense, peering into the glare for the first sign of danger. The major threat was the long-range German fighter planes, faster, better equipped, and flown by men well trained to attack.
This'll cheer you up, sir. Thanks.
So, here you've got Australians from so far across the world that have the places they're going to have only been in their imagination and in storybooks up until this time. But it does show that the Commonwealth of Nations and the British monarchy had a camaraderie and a support system for each other's countries. And that was obviously really, really important. As much as it is sad that other countries would get dragged into a more regional conflict. But the idea here that there just wasn't even enough positions to give to all of the Australian airmen that wanted to sign up is kind of astounding.
Watch out, Chloe, it's gone straight over to start. He won't be back in a hurry. Well, that's more like it.
For those of you that have been, that can pick apart the modern TikTok or selfie stories and go, oh, well, I had to take 5 retakes for someone to do from different angles. That this is, while it's archival footage, it's also a lot of this is staged because, you're not going to get a camera footage of the side of a plane getting hit in the middle of a battle or a camera recording through the cockpit windshield in the middle of a fight. But it gives you a sense of what it was like, which is helpful. However, also keep in mind that the soldiers, before they're signing up, all they would have ever seen of the war would have been a photograph or maybe even these newer-ish newsreels, which would be set up to highly propagandize people to get into it without showing the bloodshed side of it. But I think still men would be signing up to be heroes and help save their country, their nation, their fellow countrymen.
Before each raid, in briefing sessions all over England, the navigators were told the way to approach their target. They were told also the safest route home. But everyone knew they wouldn't all need this second piece of information. Continuing raids will have responsibility. Each time a plane was made ready, they prepared themselves to face a night spent in helpless concern for the men they had sent off. 1,000 planes, 1,000 crews in the air every night. Few of the men had been adequately trained for such an operation, and the figures showed that half...
1,000 planes a night took off in some of these raids. It's just incredible.
And their chances from then on were better.
So they're just saying half of them wouldn't make it back. The ones that did make it back were kind of battle hardened and better fighters later on. Wanted to show you some of the footage from London in here, but I'll probably leave that to you because I don't want to go on too long. But there's some really great footage here. This is a well put together film. It was put together in 1967, but it's obviously from archival footage from 20 or 30 years before that. There'll be some great clips there. Crazy footage of real attacks happening as well. So we all know the challenges of a country with their soldiers coming back from war, and the many that did not come back from war. Obviously, it was a huge travesty and challenge. And a challenge because it's from a social perspective. If you lose 20, 30, 40% of your men, your country is at a standstill after the war is over, because you simply just don't have the bodies, the families, the industry leaders. You don't have all these people to do the work and to build the families and to run the society. So one thing I did find was this most excellent video. Oh, I should say both these films are taken. Turn that on here. Both these films are taken from the NFSA Films channel on YouTube. Check it out. This is great archival footage from this group, and make sure that they get some loving. The concept here is that the soldiers that come back, also kind of nicknamed the Diggers, they as a nickname for the frontline soldiers. Look at this, 78,000 soldiers that came back who wanted to work and needed care. Would come and get care, but also vocational training. And this is the part I wanted to focus on, because this is a 1919 initiative to train men to do certain jobs to help rebuild their nation. Or I guess in a way their nation wasn't destroyed, but that they needed to be able to carry it on and bring it forward. And I challenge you, as we look through some of these, to identify any labor that they did in 1919 that is no longer needed in 2026. Put a little music on, see if it gets blocked. But there's no audio on this track or on this video. Hey, barbers, there's a trade everyone's gonna need. Everyone's growing here. Bricklaying. Still need bricklayers today. We don't have automated assembly of brick structures at this point, which is kind of interesting when you think of it. You'd think you'd be able to automate that at some level, but the 3D printing of concrete structures, which is kind of hideous when you think about it, is maybe the most similar thing to going forward. But here's motor assembly plants. We still need people making and manufacturing machines. This one's specifically agricultural machines, harvesters, etc. I've got this film sped up quite a bit. but because I just wanted to go through the wide array implement makers, so people can run foundries and forges and do metal work and casting, for example. These things you can't just pop up overnight either. You gotta really know what you're doing, especially when you get into an operation this complex, which obviously they had during the war as well to produce munitions, but to transfer them to civilian activities it'd take a lot of effort. We still need dishes and pottery today. In fact, if you got some pieces from 1919, you might see them as collectibles these days. Some fine looking stuff there on the shelf. Furniture making, putting things together for useful purposes will never go away. We're not 3D printing tables anytime soon. If you do, they're going to be ugly plastic pieces of garbage. And of course, farming, which now it's fewer and fewer individuals doing farming and more and more big companies, but it's not going to go away anytime soon either. And I think we're going to find more and more people that want to get into farming, at least on their own small acreages, to be able to provide better for themselves. And now more than ever, it should be easier. We know the systems, we know the solutions for making things grow well and caring for them. Sorry, I missed that title there. What was that? Oh, looks like it's like I think the rest of this it shows a facility that was being used, and I think this is where all this vocational training was kind of centered around, including this farming and cultivation training. It's like hands-on in a real place that needed real people that trained them how to do it. $600 to take care of those 75,000 people who needed to be checked out, I guess. And they had called it an orthopedic hospital where people are recovering from all sorts of injuries and disease. As we know, disease was a big thing after World War I. So here's the hostel for a place for people to recover, be cared for.
To find happiness, and I guess all those things you've always pined for. Gee, I'd like to see you looking swell, baby. Diamond braids.
One thing I will note here is how social the environment looks. Obviously, they've probably set up this way, but they're probably also getting out and getting sun because they know they need it. They're bored to death inside. You notice they're not just alone in a corner somewhere suffering. It's actually people taking care of people and helping people feel like normal human beings instead of suffering in a corner. And that's what we really need to get back to. And now the idea might be like, oh, I'm sick and tired and injured, leave me alone. But now it's, in this case, it's pretty fun to see them go, hey, no, I still want to do this. I still want to be busy and I still want to produce. So that's cool. If you're ever sick or stuck in bed, I hope you'll have that companionship and ability to really do things that you make you feel useful and passionate about life, even if some things are slowing you down. Yeah, I might add, the gents here are dressed up pretty nice as well when they are out and about. And what's your excuse? For wearing your pajamas and sweats to go get the mail. Well, I think there's only one little segment left. So, which of these do we not need these days? And which of these are obsolete? And who wouldn't want, this kind of a hospital recovery place instead of a modern day hospital? Well, I've been to Australia once. Hope to go back again. It's a beautiful country. Traveling there can be really hard for everybody the further away you are, especially in North America. But here's to you, celebrating how many years it's been for Australia from its beginning. And we appreciate your effort in the wars. And we hope your society grows and continues on, be prosperous, finding great ways to keep everybody engaged and moving forward. So it's a special salute to the farmers out there. We'll catch you on the next one.